Before we even get to the game, there's a cutscene that provides some background. For those of you that don't know, this fish head with cat eyes is Geralt of Rivia, our main character. Geralt is a witcher, or a genetically altered human mutant thing that now works as a monster slayer for hire. He's been tasked with lifting the curse from the monarch's daughter. She's been turned into a Striga, or the ex-wife of Street Fighter's Blanca. Geralt beats its ass and steals its bed. Striggers don't like sunlight, and turns back into the princess at dawn. With the naked girl right in front of him, Geralt checks out her teeth. Have to make sure she's not cursed, you sickos. Someone apparently doesn't like the dentist, wakes up and slices our mans. Soon after, on the eve of the Great War, Geralt disappeared. 5 years after the Great War, the northern kingdoms are struggling with famine and disease, and non-humans are desperately fighting for survival. Monsters are running rampant, and Geralt's passed out in the forest and has no memory. He gets picked up by the homies and is taken to Kaer Morhen, the Witcher Sanctuary. But we're not safe yet because evil Bono is trolling under the bridge. Trish Marigold, aka low-cut jiggle physics hot redhead sorceress lady, helped Geralt recover, but he still does not remember anything. Quick side note, CDPR devs were a bunch of simps for this game. Every single female character is completely stacked, and most end up either naked or in lingerie. Maybe this is how it was back then. I don't have a time machine to check for historical accuracy, so we're just gonna go ahead and assume simps. Bandits, scary monsters, and mages, oh my, rush the stronghold. The upper courtyard is also being breached by evil Bono and Dhalsim's jet cousin. In this game, Bono goes by the Professor. He's a murderer for hire. Fake Dhalsim, who we will call until we learn his real name, is an unknown sorcerer who is supposed to be all super powerful, but he can't do the stretchy arm thing or yoga fire. Marigold figures out they're going after the Witcher mutagens, the compounds that turn people into mutant witchers. Triss, her cleavage, Geralt, and Leo, this random dude who's not even a witcher, go after Bono and Dhalsim. Fake Dhalsim gets away with the mutagens, and the Professor follows up after putting a bolt through Leo. Let's be honest, I can't even act like I care. We've known this dude for like 10 minutes, Geralt tripping for no reason. Man's lost his whole memory. I doubt he even knows who Leo is. After the battle, Triss isn't doing so good, so Geralt does a random fetch quest, gives Triss a potion, and has sex with her. Triss is all like, Geralt, you the best like always. And Geralt responds with, bitch, I don't remember. Leo gets a hero's funeral pyre. Again, we have no attachment to this character, and the remaining crew decide to split up to find the culprits. With no information other than the bandits are with a group called Salamandra, Geralt's off to Temeria, where King Foltest owes him a favor for removing the Striga curse. Geralt gets to the Vizima outskirts, where some kid named Alvin is almost eaten by demon dogs. Big rips to that lady. Alvin then gets possessed, saying the White Frost is coming. Basically, this game's apocalypse. Geralt then finds Shani, dude must have a thing for redheads, who points him in the direction of the town that wants to get rid of the bad dogs. He goes on a dog chase, watches Alvin get possessed again. He learns fake Dhalsim is really Azar Javid, and everything they stole is at the Vizima Salamandra base. He then has to decide whether or not to kill the town witch because the peasants blame her for the demon dogs. But don't worry, she's a redhead. After having sex with her, Geralt helps her slaughter not only the demon dogs, but also the entire village, because they sell children to gangs. Yes, there's another reason. He did not slaughter an entire village just because he got some from the cute witch lady. After the village slaughter, Geralt rolls up on Vizima, but gets his ass thrown in jail because the guards don't believe his past is real, because it's not. Behind bars, Geralt witnesses the professor getting away. Again. Dude in his fake-ass lending glasses talks some shit and then leaves. At this point, Geralt is completely SOL until the guards roll up offering him a deal. Geralt can go free if he kills the cockatrice. Basically, mutant chicken. Don't tell the Skyrim guards we're gonna go kill it. In the sewers, Geralt runs into Siegfried, a knight of the Order of the Flaming Rose. For those of you confused, think Templars or a cult with swords and a quote-unquote noble cause. Siegfried's an okay dude, so he and his shitty squire haircut help Geralt get the mutant chicken. Siegfried hears of Geralt's hunt for Salamandra and points him in the direction of his investigator friend. This medieval elf on a shelf has been tracking Salamandra for a while now. If you haven't guessed, Azar is their leader, and they stole the Witcher mutagens for genetic experiments. Geralt follows a lead to an alchemist named Kolkstein and attempts to get this Neanderthal's trust by being his bitch and doing stupid early 2000s fetch quests in an attempt to open an all-powerful magic swamp tower. As the investigation continues, the investigator friend has to lay low because Salamandra is tracking him. Geralt finds more evidence that Kolkstein is sus as fuck, and when the investigator friend comes back, devises a trap for Kolkstein using his desire to get the tower open. After another annoyingly tedious set of forgettable tasks, Geralt finally gets the magic items from the tower and meets up with the investigator. But oh shit, The investigator is Azar? Not quite. Mans was murdered while he was laying low, and Azar took his form to set up Geralt so he could steal the magical artifacts. He knew Geralt was trying to open the tower for Kolkstein. The professor teleports in, and these fools are about to get bodied 2v1 against Geralt until they run away like little bitches. Again. This time, Geralt is poisoned and is left to die in the swamp. During this battle, a greater conflict between the Order of the Flaming Rose and the Scoia'tael, rebellious non-humans, is starting to emerge. Geralt wakes up in Triss's bed, and after almost dying from the poison, has sex with her again. CDPR, simps. Triss's cleavage then proceeds to explain she found Geralt when her magical spidey sense started tingling after the battle with Azar. She also invites Geralt to the banquet where a number of powerful people might be able to help with Salamandra. Before that though, Triss requests Geralt get that weird possessed elven kid. She says he likely has elder blood, which allows him to have immense magical power, and this power cannot be allowed to get out of control. But there's one problem. Shani says, fuck that. You can't let her have elven because she doesn't know how to raise a child. So now Geralt has to decide which redhead gets the kid. I'm gonna be all the way real with y'all. Triss let us hit twice, so she wins. As you'd guess, Shani's pissed and now wants nothing to do with Geralt. Meanwhile, Triss is all trying to start a family and wants to settle down. Skirt! I'm sorry, what? Like any dude in crisis, Geralt calls on the homies Dandelion, Bard, and Manslet Extraordinaire, and Zoltan, this fish dwarf thing, yet our man completely shit-faced, and right after discussing relationships and feelings and commitment, take him to the whorehouse. Geralt ends up at the banquet and talks to a bunch of people, including DeWitt, the Order's #1 asshole, and Princess Ada's bodyguard. Ada, by the way, is the girl you saved from the Striga curse, and she's a redhead. Before you ask, yes, Geralt fucks her too. Eventually, Triss introduces Geralt to Declan, who also wants Salamandra gone. He needs either the Scoia'tael or the Flaming Rose's support for the impending war against Salamandra. Because we're cool with Siegfried, and we've killed a bunch of Scoia'tael up to this point, don't judge me, they started it, we hit up the Flaming Rose. With the worst possible timing, this little peasant boy rolls up and makes us run all the way back across town so we can stop a bank from being robbed. Siegfried and Geralt roll up, don't like how the Scoia'tael are eyeing them, so they say fuck negotiating and straight up butcher the whole squad. Following this massacre, Siegfried agrees to help Geralt fight Salamandra. Back at the banquet, Triss, Geralt, Declan, and Siegfried are all having a secret meeting that DeWitt is trying to crash. He's in the same cult as Siegfried, but this dude is shady as fuck. Triss manages to teleport Geralt and Siegfried to the Salamandra base so they can open the gate and let Siegfried's homies join the fight. After beating the shit out of more Salamandra, Geralt runs into Azar and the professor again. Azar starts talking shit like he didn't use hacks and poison our dude in the last fight, but then starts to justify his reasoning as King Foltest is a special brand of sleazebag, and the Lodge of Sorceresses is also guilty for their own manipulation. In Azar's defense, Foltest is kind of the worst. He impregnated his sister, and then also gave up some of the allied kingdoms to Nilfgaard during the last invasion, so there's that. Azar then force pushes Geralt and those bitches run away yet again, but literally just scamper off into the next cavern. After confronting them both for like the 10th time already, guess. I bet you won't. Tell me what Azar does when Geralt rolls up ready to fight. Fucking teleports away. At least we get to body the professor. Fuck you, fake Bono. Sunglasses didn't exist back then. Before finishing him off, he decides to blow up the cavern and they land in a Kikimora nest. This nasty ass bug monster that eats the professor alive. After a bullshit boss battle, Geralt gets the cage to collapse on the queen and escapes the cavern. Hold up, what is Ada doing here? While Daddy Foltest was away, she's planning to stage a coup and assume power. She's working with Salamandra. What the fuck? We had sex! I thought she was cool, said every nice guy ever who's been cheated on. Geralt is sentenced to immediate death, and because our man's is a pimp, his last wish is a kiss. But Triss's jealous ass stay peeping on the homie and teleports his ass to some random lakeside away from Vizima. At the town by the lakeside, Geralt does a bunch of other random shit, like talk to a tadpole frog thing, meet with the lady of the lake, she's naked because CDPR again, are simps. Somehow fucking Alvin shows up in this godforsaken town and starts analyzing your choices. Geralt plays dice against a ghost to save Alvin, solves a wedding love triangle family conspiracy by making Dandelion sing a ballad to a noon wraith the bride turns into after being killed by her sister, sacrifices a cow in order to kill the demon tadpole frog thing, and gets knighted by the naked water elf lady who then gives him a sword to help him fulfill his destiny. After all of this, Berenger shows up. This guy hates that he's been forced to be a witcher and in return betrayed them to Salamandra. This asshole was the one who gave Salamandra the location of Kaer Morhen, helped them with their research, and is supposed to bring Alvin's magical ass to them. However, all of this was done because Salamandra was threatening to kill Berenger. So Geralt lets this betrayal go and walks away. Soon after, Geralt runs into White Rayla. If this sounds familiar, it's because she's the same non-human racist from Thronebreaker, Black Rayla. Not sure why she changed her color. Rayla informs Geralt that the non-humans are revolting and Vizima is burning to the ground. She's leading a unit from the Order to intercept and destroy a Scoia'tael unit in the nearby village. Like at the bank, they have hostages, but Geralt manages to talk her down. Let's see if we can negotiate with them first. Dandelion finds Geralt and tells him that one of the hostages is Alvin. This fucking kid stay putting himself in bad situations. He might as well be Haruka from Yakuza. Geralt attempts to negotiate with the Elven unit, but they understandably upset that he massacred the entire unit from the bank, so they're not hearing his shit. Again, because Siegfried has been a pretty good dude so far and the elves more or less assholes this entire game, Geralt once again partners with the Order, eradicating another non-human unit. Seeing this, Alvin dips, and we have no clue where the hell he just went. Geralt and Dandelion take a boat back to Vizima, a boat that has been there literally the whole time, but dealing with all this other random BS that we just talked about seemed like the priority instead of, stopping Salamandra or the chaos that is literally setting Vizima on fire right now. Vizima is currently locked in a war between the Order and the Scoia'tael, and King Foltest has finally returned. Foltest runs into Geralt and takes him back to his castle. The king's daughter, the redhead that Geralt fucked and then was betrayed by, yeah, she's cursed. Again. The king wants you to fix her, again. To add to the already massive shitstorm, not only are the non-humans revolting, but the Order Knights are also out of control. Foltest needs help putting them back in their place. As he heads toward Princess Striga, Geralt fights his way through the Scoia'tael Order war, takes a quick break to have sex with White Rayla, and then watches her get sniped only to be like, damn, that sucks. Eventually, Geralt lifts the Striga curse and all he had to do was distract her until dawn. I mean, one of the easiest boss fights I've ever played. It pulls some Beauty and the Beast shit and turns into one of Geralt's favorite fetishes, in lingerie. Simps. Turns out Ada's not as bad as we thought, she's just stupid. She was tricked by the professor into helping Salamandra. She also mentioned something about them creating mutants, probably why they needed the mutagens and all that powerful magic. The king sends word of Salamandra's location, and Geralt goes ready to kick Dhalsim's ass. On his way there, he runs into DeWitt. The fuck is he doing here? This asshole is the one who brought the curse back onto Princess Ada, the asshole who's working with Salamandra. This asshole has to go, so Geralt slices that ass up. Once again, Geralt finally catches up to Azar, and once again, that pussy runs away. Again, and again, and again. This continues as Geralt fights his way through a small mutant army and finally catches up to Azar in the depths of the Salamandra base. After finally ending this bullshit Tom and Jerry ass cat and mouse game, the magic mirror is still on. And a fucking Grand Master of the Order is trying to contact Azar saying he wants the mutated Knights of the Order in Vizima? What? The Order of the Flaming Rose is behind all of this? He hired Salamandra to steal the mutagens and the magic so they could create their own mutant army and reshape the world in the Grand Master's image, all under the guise of this righteous cult. Luckily, the homie Siegfried is still pure because he had no idea the Grand Master was such a douchebag. Back in Vizima, the Grand Master continues his plan to use his mutant army and the chaos created by the elves to overthrow Foltest and take over. Geralt reports back to Foltest. Luckily, he's recently formed an alliance with King Radovid, who will help quell the Order uprising in exchange for Ada, aka Geralt's sloppy seconds. Now Geralt is on a mission to cut off the head of the beast, the Grand Master himself. He continues to hack his way through the war-torn Vizima, fights for his life against a sewer monster that's massive but can somehow completely submerge itself in knee-deep water, and ends up finding the Grandmaster, who refreshingly doesn't run away. Yet. The Grandmaster is having countless visions of the White Frost and the prophecy that will bring the end of the world as we know it. He aims to use the mutants in an effort to protect humanity and then reshape it in his image. Suddenly, he does the spirit bomb pose and transports them to the Vizima he sees in his visions. Vizima after the onset of the White Frost. Geralt then straight up goes, fuck your visions, fuck your cult prophecy bullshit, fuck your fake ass just cause, fuck all the bad guys in this game who just keep running away, fuck your shitty ass beard, just die. Geralt's about to give this guy his until this random ass frost demon shows up and straight up Sindel screams the hell out of the Grandmaster, knocking him on his ass. Demon Thing is actually a specter representing the King of the Wild Hunt, a group you'll hear a lot more about in Witcher 3. He goes on this long ass speech about Geralt sowing the seeds of chaos with all the bad choices he's made throughout the game, to which Geralt tells King Boo's anorexic cousin to shut the fuck up. The specter then says he wants the Grandmaster, to which Geralt continues to say, fuck you, fight me for him. They do. Geralt wins. With no other distractions, our man finally rolls up on the Grandmaster and stabs this dude straight through the heart. That one's for Leo. Wait, who's Leo again? Geralt awakes from the dream state the Grandmaster had him in. Dandelion informs Geralt that the rebellion has been abolished, Foltest has regained control, and Siegfried is the new Grandmaster of the Order. Geralt manages to recover the Witcher secrets and the mutagens that were stolen from Kaer Morhen. Human-non-human relations are at an all-time low. The king forgave the Order for their treason as Siegfried tries to reform them. Those that plotted against the king were severely punished. Temeria and Redania are now allies, and Foltest is in Geralt's debt. And not just because of the events that transpired throughout this game, because as Geralt is taking his leave, a fucking assassin rolls up out of nowhere to try and kill Foltest. Geralt butchers this dude and oh shit. Is that a Witcher? Cliffhanger. There is a badass cutscene that provides some background to the overall plot of The Witcher 2. King Demiven is chilling on a boat with the homies. Some bald dude with a cool ass ice capsule freezes the entire boat, except the people that the mage managed to protect. Then this insane slow-mo scene of the entire boat crumbling. While Bald Man is sprinting across the boat, he's dodging arrows, whoosh, dual daggering the fuck out of Demiven's guards, ching, and using them to block fireballs, boom! That guy is all kinds of fucked up. I'm sorry, he's done. One clean swipe takes out the mage, and Demiven's all like, please don't hurt me, I'm just a little bitch who wears a crown. Bald guy gives zero fucks, doesn't say a word, hacks King's head clean off, and swims away. Gangsta as fuck. I know that was a lot of unnecessary detail and weird sound effects, but it's a cool ass cutscene. Highly recommend you check it out. Then the game actually starts and takes place months after Geralt saved King Foltest from the assassin in the final scene of The Witcher 1. Famine and disease are still rampant, racism against non-humans is trending, causing more of them to join the Scoia'tael, and we find Geralt randomly running through the forest, just like how The Witcher 1 started. Instead of getting picked up by the homies, this time he's picked up and thrown in the dungeons of Lavalette Castle. He gets interrogated by Roach, commander of Foltest's special forces, and we learn about the events leading up to Geralt's incarceration. Geralt and Foltest took an entire army to chase down Foltest's sister and get his kids back. Yes, you heard that right. Foltest fucked his sister and now is starting a bloodiest custody battle I've ever seen or heard of. And it doesn't end there. Foltest's nephew is leading the resistance. The sister had a prior child with another baron. I know, weird family issues. You thought you had problems. Anyway, Geralt manages to get him to surrender, fights off a fucking dragon, and Foltest gets to see his little incest babies. But that's short-lived because holy fuck. The blind monk killed Foltest? The blind monk is medieval Agent 47 from the first cutscene? What the fuck? Unlike the ending of Witcher 1, Geralt can't get there in time and the bald assassin man yeets himself out a window. He must be immune to fall damage. Of course, leave it to the dumbass soldiers to think that Geralt was the one that killed Foltest, and this is the story of how Geralt's ass ended up in jail. Roach is on a mission to avenge his king, and Geralt says he can ID the guy who did it. And their only lead is jacked Agent 47 escaped on a boat with some Scoia'tael. Because murder mysteries aren't confusing enough, we also get periodic flashbacks as Geralt starts to regain some of his memory. You might remember from Witcher 1 that he lost it. Before the events of Witcher 1, Geralt was in Rivia butchering the shit out of a bunch of racist humans who were riding against non-humans. Geralt ends up catching a pitchfork and is pronounced dead. Yennefer also dies trying to heal Geralt. Ciri ends up taking the two following the riots. Back to present day, Roach and Triss help Geralt escape, and instead of immediately jumping on a boat and leaving before the guards show up, they have a 10-minute conversation about Roach's lead. Jacked bald guy has been spotted with the Scoia'tael band leader, Eorvith, and they're in Flotsam. They get to Flotsam and immediately get approached by Eorvith himself. Geralt's trying to get info on the Kingslayer until Roach's racist ass throws a knife at the elf, and then it turns into a full-on ambush that is only survived because Triss is a badass sorceress. As they escape, we find out Kingslayer Mr. Clean actually knows who Geralt is, but Geralt does not know because he has yet to recover from his amnesia. Finally, in Flotsam, they're just in time for the public execution. Nice. Wait, why are Dandelion and Zoltan getting hung? And Zoltan doesn't look like a fish anymore. Shout out to the graphics upgrade. After beating the shit out of the executioner, Flotsam Commandant Loretto rolls up and spares Geralt's friends in exchange in a meeting later that evening. Geralt and Roach are ready to meet, but Loretto is currently meeting with Sheila, a very powerful sorceress that has history with Triss. Eventually, Loretto asks Geralt to help him capture Eorvith. While investigating, a capture elf from Eorvith's unit tells Geralt the Kingslayer betrayed the Scoia'tael that helped him. Dude's now on his way to kill Eorvith himself. We also finally get his name, Letho. Geralt has another memory spike and we find out that he and Yennefer weren't actually dead. Now they're just naked. Ciri went to another world, leaving the two on their own island, and they lived happily until the Wild Hunt rolled up and fucked up their whole shit. They kidnapped Yennefer, and Geralt returned to being a Witcher as he begun to search for Yennefer and get revenge on the Wild Hunt. Geralt then starts making connections to the first game. He was fleeing the Wild Hunt when his homies found him. The demon ghost dog things were Wild Hunt dogs pursuing Geralt. They were also pursuing Geralt when they showed up during that final battle between Geralt and the Grand Master. Holy shit, it's all making sense now. Conveniently, there are roses of remembrance in this forest, and Triss can help restore more of Geralt's memory if they get one. After taking a rose and killing a bunch of bandits for doing the literal same thing, Geralt and Triss fall through the floor into a very convenient, unbelievably romantic bath scene. You get one guess on what happens next. Yep. They fucking. Now with full post-nut clarity, Geralt finally decides to start searching for Iorveth again. Geralt finds and warns him about Letho's betrayal, and a plan is conceived that proves Letho is the two-faced bitch-ass jacked-as-hell traitor. Just when it's about to get real, it gets really real because Roach and his boys decide to roll up. Geralt needs to make a choice, help Iorveth or Roach. I'll be honest, I felt kind of bad about the whole Scoia'tael slaughter thing that happened in the last game, and it seemed like their cause was more just and less intrinsically racist than the others, so Geralt decided to help Iorveth. Before he can even begin to comprehend the ramifications of that decision, Letho jumps Geralt and now has to fight for his life in the same bath that he was just fucking. Letho drops Geralt, says they worked together at one point, and Geralt even saved his life. Because of this, Letho says they are even now and starts to leave. Here we go again. Bad guy getting away in a Witcher game. And because overused tropes never go out of style, Letho gives away his plan, saying he's going to steal Triss to teleport himself to Aedirn. Guess where Geralt's going next? Geralt rushes back to Flotsam to check on Triss, but the town's on fire. There's riots, non-humans are getting murdered again, and Triss is gone. Letho already forced her to teleport to Aedirn. Now Geralt is at the major crossroads that will decide what happens for the good portion of the game. Again, help Iorveth or Roach. Iorveth is headed to Aedirn to help the Scoia'tael band that's there. They fight to give the crown to a woman named Saskia. She believes in honor and integrity, fairness for all regardless of race. She isn't greedy as fuck like all the other kings, and rumor has it she also defeated a dragon. That's good enough for me, so Geralt helps Iorveth steal the boat holding all the elven prisoners, and we're off to Aedirn. As you could imagine, Roach is pissed. I mean, the guy did break us out of jail, but we're going after Letho, not the honor of Foltest's dead incest having ass. Meanwhile, Saskia, the attractive lady Iorveth's been talking about this whole time, and Stennis, King Demovin's son, are meeting with Henselt. Henselt is threatening to invade and wants them to give up the land. Stennis is all like, fuck you, you're not taking shit. Henselt comes back with, then you'll die. Stennis goes, get the fuck off my lawn. Finally, Henselt says, then you'll die. Now. And they have a massive sword battle over this shit. Aren't these supposed to be peaceful negotiations before the armies start ripping each other apart? During the battle, like any good secondhand idiot bad guy, Henselt awakens a dark force and then just decides to run away. Hold up. Why is Sheila working with him? Geralt and the homies roll up as wraiths begin to swarm the battlefield. Just when everyone's about to die, Harry Potter's owl flies and decimates the wraith. Turns out that's actually Philippa, another super strong sorceress that's working with Saskia. Philippa and Geralt cover the others as they make their way through the mist and back to Saskia's stronghold. Saskia calls a meeting of her commanders to find out the mist is remnants of a curse recreating a past battle. If the curse is not stopped, the mist will grow and consume everything. To lift the curse, Philippa and Geralt need a series of magical items that will send us on an annoying series of fetch quests, more on that later. Finally, they argue a bunch about whether or not Iorveth can join the club. He gets in, everyone drinks to celebrate. No fucking way. Saskia's been poisoned? Philippa stabilizes Saskia's condition and informs Geralt that she needs even more random shit to heal Saskia, including the Rose of Remembrance that Triss has. Yay, more fetch quests. In case I've lost you, here's a quick recap of Geralt's current situation. Triss, Geralt's girl, has been captured by Letho. Henselt has a massive army ready to destroy the underdog squad Geralt chose to join, and leader of this underdog army has been poisoned. There's a growing mist full of wraiths ready to fuck everyone's shit up, and Geralt's the only one capable of solving all of these problems. Things aren't good. So Geralt starts investigating and fetching and killing and fetching some more and manages to fix a troll marital dispute, quell the peasant riot that accuses Stennis of poisoning Saskia, find out that Philippa's a freak, and learn that Nilfgaard is here to third party the battle. Triss was turned into a figurine and is on her way to Loch Moyne, along with Letho, Sheila, King Radovid, Nilfgaard reps, and all the other major players, each with their own greedy-ass agenda. Finally, everything's gathered to cure Saskia's poisoning. She drinks the blue Kool-Aid, takes the EpiPen to the heart Mia Wallace style, gets exercised, and then makes out with Philippa's Sleeping Beauty style. Dwarf drops the best line of the entire game.
Type of magic. Lesbomancy.
And Saskia is finally awake. Geralt heads off to lift the curse by reliving the battle and defeating the Draug, all while learning that sorceresses are actually sus as fuck. Following this, Geralt has another memory. This time, Letho's on the verge of death, and Geralt manages to save him. Letho's a Witcher from the School of the Viper, another Witcher faction. Letho and his boys then help Geralt search for the Wild Hunt. Geralt wakes up to learn he's lifted the curse, but Henselt's army is on their way. The battle begins, and Saskia's small army manages to fight off the first wave. While Henselt's men regroup, Geralt and Saskia scout the mines below the stronghold to find an enemy detachment trying to flank them. Geralt gets roasted, and to save him, Saskia turns into a fucking dragon? After chewing on the knights that didn't escape, Geralt learns that she was the dragon from Foltest's raid? It's a secret, so Geralt can't tell anyone. Shh. They get back to battle and eventually get Henselt to surrender. Saskia names her terms for the victory, and Philippa states they'll go over the details at Loch Moyne. The two ladies also mention that Henselt's current mage advisor must be sentenced to death and will be replaced by Sheila. That is suspicious indeed. Saskia is acting extra sus, and Geralt and Yorvith notice it. After the two ladies teleport away, they search Philippa's room and find the recipe used to heal Saskia, but it doesn't mention a rose of remembrance. Philippa used the rose and lesbomancy to subjugate Saskia's mind and will use her to influence the peace summit at Loch Moyne. Can't trust these magical bitches, man. They scheme way too much. Meanwhile, Nilfgaard uses their sorceress to restore Triss, who's all kinds of messed up right now. Wonder how turning into a figurine manages to take your clothes off, CDPR. Simps. Our guys get to Loch Moyne, and the Knights of the Flaming Rose are chilling at the front gate. Normally this would be a massive issue, especially for the Scoia'tael. However, remember our Witcher 1 video. Siegfried's the homie. Siegfried tells Geralt that Philippa has been arrested and charged with treason by King Radovid. He doesn't trust these magical bitches either. Triss ratted on their asses, saying they made up a secret society called the Lodge of Sorceresses. Through this, they're doing all kinds of behind-the-scenes manipulation as royal advisors. According to Radovid, the Lodge ordered Demiven and Foltest killed. Wait, what? They're working with Letho? Before leaving, he has his boys rip her eyes out with a fucking melon baller. Bet you didn't see that coming. Huh? No. Oh, okay. Moving on. Geralt rolls up like, what the fuck, Philippa? Thought we were cool. Philippa has the audacity to demand Geralt's help, but slow your roll, girl. We need info. Philippa refuses to say much, but promises to lift the spell on Saskia and explain everything if we save her. However, Triss is at the Nilfgaardian camp, and her time is running out as well. Geralt has to make another game-altering choice. Save the hot redhead he's been fucking for the past 2 games, or save Philippa in the hopes of hitting the blind chick and the cute blonde with the Dragusi. Geralt doesn't appreciate Philippa's sketchy-ass scheming, not to mention simps stay simping, so our mans goes after Triss. I mean, the hookup is all but guaranteed at this point. You gotta get it where you can. Geralt massacres the entire Nilfgaardian camp, helps out Triss, and straight up asks, why is everyone saying you're lying to me? Triss stands by her story. Yes, she is a member of the Lodge of Sorceresses, but this lodge is dominated by Sheila and Philippa. By the time they started conspiring to kill kings, they no longer trusted Triss and used her to unknowingly manipulate Geralt. Since the lodge was created, Philippa has been hashing out a plan to create a state controlled by the sorceresses themselves. Working with Letho, Demiven's death, the sorceresses on both sides of the Adern battle, all of that was a plan hatched out by the sorceresses to control everything. Geralt and Triss head to the meeting where Sheila is trying to reinstate the conclave of mages in her image. Triss starts snitching on everyone. Sheila, Philippa, Dandelion's mom, everyone. No one's getting away from this shit. Sheila gets her ass arrested for suspected treason and murder until the dragon shows up. Seriously, how did no one notice her leave the meeting or see her transform? Dragon roasts all the guards and saves Sheila, but Geralt's all like, fuck that, and goes after them. Sheila is trying to teleport away, but confirms they planned Demiven's death, and Letho betrayed them. The lodge had nothing to do with Foltest. Nilfgaard hired Letho to King Foltest. Letho was working for Nilfgaard this entire time. What? To add to the chaos, Nilfgaard is moving in on the north, ready to invade while the northern kingdoms are at each other's throats and vulnerable. Sheila begins to teleport, but her crystals are sabotaged. Geralt could let her die, but decides to help her out. In return, Sheila tells him that Yennefer is with Nilfgaard. And then she finally leaves. Before getting any time to figure out what's going on with Yennefer, the damn dragon shows up and starts messing up everything. The Dragusi is not happy, and Geralt ends up riding it until the dragon impales itself on a conveniently placed giant piece of wood. Instead of finishing the dragon right there, Geralt simply walks away and leaves Saskia to her fate. Her miserable, brainwashed, giant hole in her chest. Fate. That's messed up. I know. Triss manages to teleport Yor without a Loch Moin, and Geralt rolls up on Letho, who's chilling. Man is super relaxed for all that's really been going down. He even offers Geralt a drink, so I guess it's not that bad. While talking to Letho, Geralt has another flashback. He and the Viper School Witchers found the Wild Hunt, and Geralt ends up trading his soul for Yennefer's. Letho proceeds to offer up quite a bit of information, and we find out that they stuck around with Yennefer after Geralt sacrificed himself. They got themselves caught by Nilfgaard. Yennefer was with the Empire when Letho was sent to kill the kings. His job was to kill as many rulers as possible, spread chaos, and then place the blame on the sorceresses so Nilfgaard could roll up and third party everybody. The Wild Hunt is a group of elves that likely showed up from another world. They are able to use their powers to create the race Geralt has fought in the past. Geralt has an idea regarding what they want, but that's none of your concern. Geralt's words, not mine. Letho was chilling because he knew Geralt wouldn't stop his pursuit. He makes it very clear that Geralt isn't an enemy, he was just in the way. Letho wants to bounce, but knows he'll have to first fight if Geralt won't let him go. Letho put us through a long-ass cat and mouse bullshit. No fucking way he walks. Catch the sword, bitch. Dead! Geralt and Triss finally get to leave Loch Moin. Flotsam becomes a military base. Adern is its own land and is open to those seeking freedom. Radovid and Henselt end up splitting the north between themselves. The Conclave of Mages ends up forming, sacrifices Sheila and her accomplices, and now has to answer to Radovid. Credits roll. Post-credit cutscene. Peasant gets trampled. How is he still alive? Doesn't matter though, because holy shit, Nilfgaard's here, ready to mess everyone's day up. Things aren't good. Nilfgaard is invading the north, monsters are still running rampant, and the Wild Hunt is still out there trying to ruin Geralt's day. Since Geralt finally got some information about Yennefer, he and his mentor Vesemir have been trying to track her down, and do so in another badass CDPR cutscene. There's war all over the place, crow lobotomies, cool earth magic, but honestly my first thought was, if Yennefer's trying to escape, why is she riding through the battle? In case you didn't know, Geralt and Yennefer have always had a complicated relationship, to say the least. They care for each other and are parental figures for Ciri, who we'll meet soon. Also, a genie bound them together, just the most dysfunctional family ever. Their search takes them to an inn in White Orchard, where Geralt learns the most addictive card game I have ever played, and that Yennefer was seen at a local Nilfgaardian garrison. Garrison commander will only give up the info if Geralt kills a griffin, and after delivering its head, finds out she's in Vizima. But even after all that effort, none of it really matters because she shows up with Nilfgaardian escort and lace thigh highs. Seems CDPR is still simping. Yennefer insists Geralt come to Vizima because Emperor Emhyr, Nilfgaard's ruler, wants to see him. The strong-willed mage reports to Emhyr now? There's another reason, but because she has this power complex and is a low-key bitch, she refuses to give Geralt any more information. Vesemir heads back to Kaer Morhen, and while Geralt's riding out, everything gets extra frosty. Oh shit, the Wild Hunt's already here? They get away and head for Vizima while Geralt gets the Coming to America treatment and learns how to curtsy. Geralt's no bitch though and refuses to bow to Emhyr's punk ass. Emperor Emhyr says his daughter Ciri has returned. She's being pursued by the Wild Hunt and Emhyr wants her brought to him. Wait, Ciri's back? Yen's been using all kinds of spells to find her, but now that the Wild Hunt's on that ass, they have to use traditional tracking, and that's where Geralt comes in. Yen has 3 leads, with the Trail and Velen being the most promising. Geralt is to meet one of Emhyr's spies. Before leaving, we get some background on the war between games 2 and 3. Nilfgaard managed to easily take over Adern, the free area once led by that dragon lady. Instead of helping his allies, Radovid's crazy ass attacked Henselt, killed him, and united the 2 kingdoms. Now Radovid's north and Emhyr's south are at a stalemate until Nilfgaard gets reinforcements. Geralt goes to meet the spy, but things aren't good. He's all kinds of dead and the entire village is raided. The Wild Hunt rolled through as they continued to track Ciri. He found the spy's notes that gave him 2 leads, one a local baron and the other a witch. Geralt visits the bloody baron who knows Ciri. Baron tells Geralt Ciri was brought in because she saved a little girl that Bullcut here thought was the baron's missing daughter. Geralt says, "Where is she?" And the Baron tells his grumpy ass to chill because there's something he wants first. Just so everyone's aware, this is basically quid pro quo the game. The Baron's wife, Anna, and daughter are missing, and he wants Geralt to find them. Geralt investigates and finds Anna's amulet, given to her by a Peller people say has gone crazy and fucks goats. Knowing all that, Geralt visits the Peller anyway. The Peller can augur the spirits to get more information, but his goat went missing. Geralt sets off on the most annoying fetch quest of this entire game when he has to ring the bell to have the goat follow him every time it stops to eat fucking berries. It's like getting the kid with ADHD to pay attention in a room full of butterflies. Eventually, Goat makes it back. Peller pours its milk and rat blood on the living room floor. No wonder the Black Plague happened. And spirits tell them Anna had a miscarriage. The fetus turned into a botchling, a cursed creature that feeds on pregnant women because it wasn't given a proper burial. Back at the Baron's place, he's extra wasted, and Geralt beats his ass for abusing his wife and forcing his wife and child to flee. In order to find Anna, they have to perform a ritual turning the botchling into a lumberkin, so the Baron picks up the creepy-ass daughter, names her, and buries her under the house. The lumberkin spirit emerges, and Geralt follows it to the family that harbored Anna and their daughter. The daughter is safe in a nearby city, but Anna, not so much. As they attempted to escape, Anna came under a great deal of pain. Fiery marks burned into her palms, and a giant fiend dragged her into the woods. Without any additional information, Geralt decides to pursue the lead about the witch, who happens to be Keira Metz, sorceress and former advisor to King Foltest, before Letho cut his head off in the second game. Because Geralt gives zero fucks, he walks in on Keira bathing like, dry off, we have shit to do. Geralt tells her about Ciri, and Keira mentions being approached by an elven mage who is also looking for her. Keira takes Geralt to the mage's hideout, but the Wild Hunt is already there. After taking out a Wild Hunt executioner, they search for clues, see Elfman's projection saying the area is no longer safe, no shit, but they do get a clue about the witches of Crookback Bog. Geralt is told to follow the trail of treats, think Hansel and Gretel if you know that tale. When he gets there, Geralt finds some orphans and a weird woman in the middle of the swamp. That's not creepy at all. No one's willing to give Geralt any information until he finds out Johnny might know. Who the fuck is Johnny, you might ask? Johnny is the ugliest and, once he gets his voice back, most annoying smurf ever, but he's cool and convinces the old lady to ask the witches for help. It only gets weirder when the witches, also called crones, use the woman to communicate with Geralt. They know Ciri, but of course information is never free. Geralt has to kill an evil spirit that's basically Voldemort if he was a tree. Trees it, gets popped. Geralt collects the village leader's ear because the crones are sick and eat people, and when he delivers it, the crones show up in their true form. Ugly as fuck. Like that 2 you had to hang out with so your friend could get the 8. They tell the lady to get the ear and set her hand ablaze when she takes too long. Wait, holy shit, Anna? The crones tell Geralt that Ciri appeared in the swamp. They took her in and were going to give her to the Wild Hunt, but the crones first wanted to taste Ciri's elder blood. Ciri escapes, and that's how she ended up at the Barrens. Naturally, Geralt's all like, you tried to eat my daughter, I'm gonna fuck you up. But the crones fade away laughing, saying they'll see him soon. Geralt tells the Baron his wife had a child she didn't want because of their fucked up relationship, made a pact with the crones, and found out you shouldn't trust Silent Hill cosplays. All of this torment has caused Anna's mental state to wither away and deteriorate. The Baron decides to go after his wife, but not before telling Geralt the rest of his story. Ciri hung out for a bit. They slayed a giant cock together, this rooster basilisk thing, you sickos, and eventually Ciri left for Novigrad. Before leaving, this ball of leprosy bursts in and starts breaking shit. Baron says that's Uma. He won him in a card game from a Skelligan trader and now uses him as entertainment for his crew. Geralt's now in Novigrad, and things aren't good. The Church of the Eternal Fire runs the city and is on a crusade to rid it of magic users and non-humans. Speaking of magic users, Geralt runs into everyone's favorite red-headed sorceress, Triss. For those of you not familiar, she's been the main love interest while Geralt lost his memory the last 2 games, and Yen was nowhere to be found. Seems like they decided to take a break when Geralt got his memory back and remembered about Yen, because now it's kind of awkward. After helping her scare some rats and barbecue some witch hunters, Triss sends Geralt to the sorceress that can use dreams to find people. Ciri contacted Dandelion, Geralt's bard friend who's basically a medieval gigolo, and now we're searching for yet another person. Geralt must be great at hide and seek because he's always looking for someone. He follows the lead and eventually runs into the dwarf homie Zoltan. Zoltan has been kicking squatter ass because the tavern he shares with Dandelion has been deserted. Zoltan and Geralt know Dandelion's a hoe, so they ask all his recent conquests for a lead, including this cross-dressing elf. Not gonna judge, do you, Dandelion? Geralt was pointed in the direction of Priscilla, eloquently described as
Picture Dandelion with a pair of tits and you've got the general idea.
Dandelion with a pair of tits tells Geralt real Dandelion was planning a heist with Dijkstra's vault and caused problems for Whoreson Jr., an underworld boss. Knowing Dandelion, he fucked up and Geralt needs to save his ass. Again. Geralt heads to Dijkstra's bathhouse and after getting his fill of CDPR simping, gets some leads on Whoreson. Dijkstra also shows Geralt an empty vault where our troll friend Bart is grieving because
Bart makes Ziggy Lou joyful.
For those of you that don't speak troll, Bart feels guilty. He was supposed to protect the treasure. It's gone, so he didn't do his job. Dijkstra wants his 20 tons of gold back. Geralt does more investigating, finds a name of someone who may have blown up the vault, has to find yet another person, but instead learns Menge, leader of the witch hunters, sees the golden dandelion. Triss has a plan. Menge is a witch hunter, so let's give him the most famous witch in Novigrad, Triss. As she offers herself up to save Dandelion, she tells Geralt not to break cover. Not that easy considering the guard in the other room is ripping off her fingernails one by one. Menge reveals Dandelion's in Temple Isle dungeons and will stay there until he orders the execution in person. Too bad Triss didn't hear that, because once Menge goes in to check on Triss, damn! She stabs this dude straight through the chin. Don't piss off the cute fire mage. Geralt's like, yeah, we kinda needed him alive. He has to give the order in person. And Triss is like, oh shit, my bad. What about the shape-changing Doppler friend Dudu? Dudu. Hold up, Triss. Dudu's in hiding. So yet again, we're off to search for another person. Before that, Geralt works on his horse and leads, finds out that he's working for Radovid, and Dijkstra sends Geralt to an old friend that has a Redanian contact, our buddy, Vernon Roach. Roach is leading a band of guerrilla fighters against Nilfgaard, and lucky for us, doesn't seem too upset that we completely abandoned him for the elves in the last game. Also lucky is that he's on his way to see his Redanian contact right now. King Radovid? Radovid continues to be a psychopath, which is clearly depicted in our very first conversation with him.
Blood thumps inside these chessmen. You need only listen, and you will hear. I want to break the chessmen open. Squeeze the truth from them.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
But eventually, we get Whoreson's location. After slaughtering his entire guard, we learn what a fucking degenerate Whoreson really is and literally beat the information out of him. This ponytail rat-looking fuck said he would fix Ciri's phylactery if they stole Dijkstra's treasure. They didn't deliver, and Whoreson kidnapped Dudu, Dudu, to set Ciri up. She kicks his ass and fights her way out while Dudu morphs and goes into hiding. Geralt leaves Whoreson to his fate. Pieces of shit like that aren't worth staining good swords, and continues to search for Dudu. Before that though, Triss needs a favor, and because she's hotter than Dandelion, we take a short break to help her and the other mages escape the persecution of Novigrad. Ah shit, Blanca, but Triss has been our ride or die since the first game. I know, we can't let her leave, so Geralt drops the forbidden L word and tells Triss how he really feels. Despite this, she leaves anyway. Damn, Geralt. You tried, big dog. Keep your head up, king, is what Dijkstra's potato head ass tried to say until Geralt turned around. No fucking way. She stayed? At the last minute, Triss decided not to flee with the other refugees and risk it all to be with Geralt. The two find a romantic lighthouse, take a moment to dream about their future, and fully enjoy being back together, if you know what I'm saying. Triss agrees to head for Kaer Morhen while Geralt continues to search for Dandelion and Ciri. Because Dudu is a theater aficionado, Priscilla and Geralt put on a play to draw him out of hiding. Roger Ebert gave the performance 2 out of 4 stars, but fuck him because it's like 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Dudu agrees to help, shapeshifts into Menge, and orders Dandelion to be moved. The rest of the crew set up an ambush, and Geralt saves his most annoying friend yet again. Dandelion fills in the rest of Ciri's story. Ciri continued to fight through hordes of Whoreson's men, and right before taking her crossbow to the heart, she vanishes, leaving Dandelion to get captured. She also needed help deciphering a curse and incantation that Dandelion repeats for Geralt. With no other leads in Novigrad, Geralt decides to head for Skellige. He parts ways with Dandelion, Priscilla, and Zoltan as they all head back to their tavern. Eventually, Geralt makes his way to Skellige, and things aren't good. King Bran is dead, and the clans need to pick a successor to lead them against Nilfgaard. Yen informs Geralt there was a large burst of magic in the forest, and she thinks it was Ciri. At the wake, the whole thing screams brave. The old Irish accents, bunch of blokes and that one ginger lass competing for something. Lass's big old father is hosting the ceremony. There's a massive bear attack that we'll get to later. Disney's out here really stealing more ideas. Because she's conniving, manipulative, and won't take no for an answer, Yen drags Geralt into the druid's lab to steal a sacred mask. Almost get crushed by an elemental, and damn near die from poisonous gas, all without giving Geralt any real information as to why. Right before said death, she teleports them back to the wake, and Geralt's homie Croc asks him to help him with his unruly ass kids. Geralt helps one kill an ice giant, the other fake roast a fucking baby. I said it was fake, don't strike me YouTube, and stop Slenderman Gengar from haunting Irish Sagat. Back at the wake, celebration turns chaos when out of nowhere a bunch of bears just start ripping people apart. Body parts are flying all over the place, there's blood everywhere, they spilled the mead. Not the mead! Croc's son's all like, fuck that. We're getting revenge, and runs out to fuck someone's day up even though he has no other information. His more even-keeled sister wants to investigate first. Maybe figure out how a group of bears randomly ended up in the dining room of a castle that's on top of a mountain. Geralt helps Croc's daughter Cerys discover that some people can turn into bears. Were given spiked drinks that cause them to go feral. More investigation reveals that this traitorous bitch caused the chaos in order to kill off the other successors, leaving the throne open for her son. She's sentenced to death, and Cerys eventually becomes the new queen of Skellige. After influencing national politics, Geralt meets Yen where the magic explosion happens. Geralt dons the mask stolen from the druid, which allows him to see glimpses of the past. Ciri and her elf friend were here fleeing the Wild Hunt. The druid mentions that the race raided a nearby town as well, so they talk to the survivors and learn one of them was with Ciri, but he's off monster hunting. Also, he's dead. Because Yennefer gives zero fucks, she has no qualms of using dark magic and reanimates the dead to get his story. Elf and Ciri teleported to the shoreline, and Ciri wasn't looking so good. Dude took them in, Elfman dips, Ciri is tended to until she recovers. Oh shit, the Wild Hunt is back? Dude gets cut down helping Ciri escape, and when he comes to, Uma? Why is he here? Before Geralt goes back to get Uma, Yennefer asks him for a favor. Of course, doesn't reveal her true intentions until later. Eventually, Geralt finds out Yennefer wants to tame a djinn in order to remove the bond between them and find out if their feelings are real. They do, and for Yen, nothing has changed. She still has feelings and wants to be with Geralt. But Geralt's over here like, yeah, it's quiet. You cool and all, and I dig the slutty outfits, but I'm committed to someone who actually treats me way better. I'm just saying, if any of y'all out there are like, nah, Blanca, should have picked Yen, straight up, you just want a dommy mommy and like getting stepped on. Triss is actually going to take care of our mans in more ways than one, if you know what I'm saying. They teleport back, Yen's off to report to Emir, and Geralt's like, fuck that guy, report these nuts. Geralt heads back to Velen, picks up Uma's ugly ass, and gets forced to report to Emir anyway, and recap Ciri's situation. For those of you not paying attention or can't keep up with my bullshit, Ciri and Elf appeared in Skellige, ran into the Wild Hunt, fled, and got separated in Velen, where Ciri had to deal with the crones and met the Baron. She then went to Novigrad, where she had her scrap with Whoreson, and teleported back to Skellige, meeting up with Elfman again. Wild Hunt found them once more. They fled by boat, but a day later, the only thing to return was the boat and Uma. Yennefer says she might be able to lift Uma's curse and figure out who he really is, but again is being cryptic as all hell. They head to Kaer Morhen and make preparations to lift the curse. Yennefer yeets a bed out the window because it has Triss's hair in it. Geralt has a good excuse when he says he lost his memory, remember, Witcher 1? Yennefer says, fuck your excuse, and yeets Geralt into the lake. Bitch. Finally, Yennefer tells everyone she's going to put Uma under the trial of grasses, the extremely painful witch mutation that kills most of the people who do it. Naturally, all the witches are like, what the fuck? But Yen explains that she needs to use this trial in order to mold Uma into the original form. The next day, they left the curse, trap it in the phylactery, and Uma is the elf man? Extremely weak, he mutters that Ciri is at the Isle of Mist, gives Geralt a way to find it, and says the Wild Hunt will know where Ciri is the second she leaves. No more running, it's time to take out the hunt. Geralt recruits all the homies he's helped throughout this journey and sends them to Kaer Morhen. He heads to the Isle of Mist, kicks a bunch of doors out their safe house, and finally finds Ciri. No, she didn't make it? Completely helpless, Geralt embraces his lifeless daughter. But hold up, the light used to guide Geralt to Ciri finds her, and she's back? Ciri and Geralt have a tender reunion and take a moment to catch up. After Ciri left Geralt and Yen on the Isle mentioned in Witcher 2, she was already being pursued. She fled through time and space using her powers, ran into Elfman, whose name is Avallac'h by the way, and he helped her find a place where the Wild Hunt couldn't find her. After some time, Ciri thought she was safe and decided to return. As we all know, that was a bad idea. Eredin, the leader of the Wild Hunt, used a curse from the phylactery, and that's how Avallac'h became Uma. Ciri teleports them back to Kaer Morhen, where she gets a warm welcome, and the love triangle tensions are still brewing. But we don't have time for that. The Wild Hunt is attacking Kaer Morhen. The massive battle happens. Hella Wild Hunt soldiers all over the place. The sorceresses are fucking shit up with fire and telekinesis. Geralt and the Witcher homies are slicing dudes all over the place. But that's not enough. Yen loses her strength, the shield falls, and the white frost freezes Geralt. In an effort to save Ciri, Vesemir gets caught. Knowing Ciri is going to sacrifice herself to save Vesemir, he fights back. Oh no! Vesemir gets his neck snapped. This sets Ciri into a fit of rage, unleashing her uncontrolled power. The Wild Hunt needs to retreat, and Ciri is only stopped when a weakened Avallac'h gets her under control. The others thaw out. Everyone is overwhelmed by the loss of Vesemir, and he gets the hero's pyre he deserves. Yennefer says magic is their best defense against the Wild Hunt, and they have to recruit the Lodge of Sorceresses, or at least what's left of them. She and Triss head out to start the search, while Geralt, Avallac'h, and Ciri stay to hone her power. Needless to say, it's not going well. To take her mind off things, Geralt pelts Ciri with snowballs to lift her spirits. The next day, Ciri coaxes Geralt into going to Velen for the Witch's Sabbath. The general who killed Vesemir will be there, and Ciri wants revenge. They get Blisterface Blind Lady to open the gate, kill the obese devil, and rock, paper, scissors to see who's going to fight the crones and who gets to avenge Vesemir. Ciri rolls up on the crones doing some naked cooking and whoops their asses for obvious health code violations. Geralt finds the hunt general who's into furries and goat play. Geralt does some cooking himself when he sears dude's head and then tenderizes it. Vesemir avenged, they head for Novigrad where Triss tells Geralt she has a lead on Philippa, the owl lady who betrayed Geralt and got her eyes gouged out by Radovid in Witcher 2. The lead takes them to Dijkstra's bathhouse while Philippa is just throwing fireballs at him. Geralt manages to subdue Philippa and convince Dijkstra to let them go. This eventually leads to Geralt helping the spy homies kill Radovid for the good of Temeria, and Philippa can't turn down opportunity to get some well-deserved revenge. With Radovid dead, Roach and Thaler plan to form a truce with Nilfgaard. Nilfgaard keeps what they've conquered, but is willing to leave Temeria alone for Radovid's head and a ceasefire. Of course, Dijkstra's two-timing ass says, nah, we fight until we win, under my rule. He tries to kill Thaler and Roach, but Roach is the homie, so Geralt kills Dijkstra with complete disregard to the greater consequences we'll have on the war. Geralt then meets with Yennefer, who tells him Margarita's in prison. After killing all the guards, not only does he find Margarita, but Sheila's alive? Well, barely. She's in critical condition. Radovid's people have not been kind to her since she got caught. She asks Geralt to finish her as an act of mercy. Yen gets Margarita out, and despite being fully responsible for putting Geralt through all kinds of shit in the second game, he's nice enough to honor her final request. With the sorceresses gathered, Avallac'h needs Geralt's help as well. He has a plan to get the second of Eredin's generals, Gels, to abandon him. Gels was loyal to the previous king and didn't know Eredin killed him. Avallac'h wants to show Gels the truth and does so by dragging Geralt across the multiverse. Geralt finds the Witcher version of Cool Cool Mountain, shout out to all you old heads who actually got that reference, and remembers that is where he fought Eredin's projection at the end of Witcher 1. He also learns that after trading his soul for Yennefer's and joining the Wild Hunt, Ciri came for him. She saved him from the Wild Hunt and dropped him off outside Kaer Morhen at the beginning of Witcher 1. It has all come full circle. Eventually, they make it to Gels, who has been using art as an excuse to stare at elf titties. They convince Gels to come back with them and use the Dream Lady to show how Eredin killed the previous king. Feeling betrayed, Gels advises the group to find the Sunstone, which will summon Eredin's ship, and he will not provide any reinforcements, should he be called. The group then heads back to Skellige to find the Sunstone and complete their final battle prep. But first, Ciri takes Geralt and Yen to Avallac'h's hidden lab. They find a really bitchy elf lady that talks all kinds of shit about Ciri, saying Avallac'h's not her friend and is only using her for the super genes. Naturally, Ciri's pissed off, so Geralt does the mature thing and helps her destroy all of Avallac'h's shit. Then they take a quick detour to pay their respects to the guy who helped her while they were in Skellige, while also punching another guy who was talking more shit. I thought we were looking for the Sunstone. Geralt finally gets back on track and searches the caverns with Philippa. They find the Sunstone, but Philippa's still scheming like that's not how she lost her eyes. Avallac'h and Ciri summon the ship, the mages prevent it from teleporting, and Nilfgaard's fleet prevents it from escaping by sea. Geralt heads straight for Eredin until he gets turned into another popsicle. To stop the frost, Ciri slices the last general clean and destroys his glowing ball staff thing. Weak from the explosion, she teleports away, and a thought-out Geralt finishes the job. Geralt continues to fight through the frozen sea until he finds Eredin. Nah, he did not just kill the homie Crack. Geralt is about to ruin this man's day. Eredin thinks he's smooth when he grabs Geralt through a portal and starts using frosty elf powers, but our guy's precision is too real. Poke you in your eye. Eredin defeated, he tells Geralt Avallac'h has deceived them both. More deception? He dies after the confession, and Yen pulls Geralt out of there before the Horde gets him. Avallac'h is opening the gate between worlds. Geralt goes after him and draws his sword. He's tired of Avallac'h's games, but this is no game. Ciri is the one that told him to open the gate. Yes, the Wild Hunt has been defeated, but the White Frost is still out there. Ciri is the only one that can stop it from eradicating all life, and she's determined to save the ones she loves. Continuing to be a good father, Geralt lets his little swallow spread her wings. Ciri confronts the White Frost, recalls the recent memory she had with Geralt, and presses on. The White Frost disappears and the portal closes. Black screen. 2 weeks later, Geralt reports to Emir. Ciri is dead? No! Geralt tells him Ciri stopped the White Frost and fulfilled the prophecy, but sacrificed herself in the process. Struck with grief, Emir makes it clear that he never wants to see Geralt again. Geralt heads back to Velen where he picks up a really nice silver sword he commissioned as a gift. A gift for Ciri? Wait, she's alive? The memories Ciri had with Geralt motivated her to survive the battle with the White Frost. Geralt told Emhyr Ciri is dead, so he no longer has to get in the way, and the sword is hers as she's chosen the Witcher's path, just like her surrogate father. With Radovid dead, Nilfgaard conquered Novigrad and Redania, but Temeria remains free. Skellige is flourishing under Cerys' rule. Choosing the Witcher path, Geralt taught Ciri everything he knows, and legends about the ashen-haired Witcheress are spreading throughout the land. And Geralt's old head ass finally settled down with Triss. Triss made bank as the mage advisor to Kovir's king, and Geralt took the random Witcher contract because retirement is boring.